Welcome, everybody, here to the Muskie Sports Network for Coffee with an Athletic Trainer today, sponsored by Jennings Java. I'm Tom Caudell, and joining me today is Muskingum's head athletic trainer, Parker Lee. Parker, welcome to Coffee with an Athletic Trainer.
Thanks for having me. And I just want to put out there, Jennings Java, great coffee and a great guy. I went to school with him, so can't say enough about it.
I'm going to tell you, I love hearing that. And if anybody's watching and you want that fresh roast experience, it doesn't get any better. Go to JenningsJava.com. You can order it online, get on a subscription club. Daniel Jennings and now also AJ Kazmierzak, who played baseball here as well. Two guys doing some wonderful things in Columbus, Ohio, but still make it back to campus and help us sponsor Coffee with an Athletic Trainer today. Parker, we'll get it rolling here. Tell us, where did you grow up at? What was your involvement with sports at an early age?
Yeah, so I grew up in Dublin, Ohio, went to the Hilliard City Schools, went to Hilliard-Davidson, but I started playing sports young. I started at 3 with soccer, kind of played every sport under the sun that I could get my hands on when I was younger, but really fell in love with soccer and, just every aspect of it, being on the field practicing, the long bus rides with the teammates, everything like that. It was just, that's where I really got involved and found my love with sports.
You talk about soccer. You ultimately came to Muskingum to play soccer.
Yeah.
What was it that first attracted you to Muskingum University when you were looking at different college options?
Yeah, so Muskingum was really attractive, because they let me pursue soccer. But it was also one of the schools that had athletic training that allowed you to be a student athlete as well. So when I was here for my visit, I didn't only meet the soccer team and the soccer coaches. I also got to meet Ken Blood, who was the head of the program at the time. And Ken should sell used cars because he sold the program so well. He got me here. It was honestly more the program than the actual athletic soccer program itself. So that's what got me to Muskingum.
I'll tell you, Ken Blood, a side fact, Ken Blood officiated my wedding. So he does it all. He officiated the wedding. He would tape the ankles for you, take care of any nerves. Ken was a legend in his time here at Muskingum. And, and the day that he left to go pursue some other opportunities at Cedarville, it was a sad day here for me, as it was for other Muskies, because Ken certainly is a face of Muskingum athletics for many years.
Absolutely.
You came here, you're playing soccer, you're going through the AT program. What's one of your favorite memories or moments when you think back, as a student athlete here at Muskingum?
Yeah, one of the big moments that sticks out was my sophomore year. We were on the road at Wilmington for a game, and we're running down. There's little time left. It's a tied game, and I'm playing outside back at the time, and played a perfect ball right to the foot of my attacking midfielder, about 30 yards, right into the box. He one time touches it into the corner. We end up scoring and winning the game, which was our first conference win of the year. It was a little bit of a rough year back then, but it was a big win. As a team, we just got to experience that win, and it was just an amazing moment for all of us.
Well, anytime you get wins in the OAC, always special. But when you're the back playing the ball up there, and as you said, the perfect ball, right?
Yep, perfect.
That's what we're looking for, right? As you get older, Parker, it's not going to be the perfect ball. It's going to be you made the shot.
Exactly.
And that story grows and grows as you get a little older.
Got to wait a few more years so it's not on the website.
Hey, if you need us to, we can adjust that box score right now.
Perfect.
You go through the AT program, and kudos to you. You were really known on our campus as a standout student in the classroom, a standout athletic trainer. And, in talking with Ken Blood, the vision of what you were going to do was going to be pretty awesome, that you could almost write your pathway, how you're going to go. Once you left Muskingum, where was that next stop for you?
So my next stop was down to Ohio University, where I was a GA and got my master's in athletic training. So for my first year there, I was placed at Marietta College, where I worked with the men's soccer team and the women's lacrosse team. And then I had the opportunity to go work with the Cincinnati Reds organization. But because of everyone's favorite pandemic, COVID, that got taken away. So then I was placed at Lancaster High School. And I kind of there found out I don't really want professional sports because I've worked it before in the past. I don't want high school. College is the route for me. And then I saw that Muskingum had a position open. And I applied because I wanted to give back to the wonderful university that made me the athletic trainer I am. And that's how I got back.
We're happy to have you back here. We're going to talk more about when you came back here in a little bit, but let's shift focus a little bit and talk to me. I mean, with the way you approach your job, the way you approach your craft, I mean, who's influenced you the most?
I feel like we've talked about him a little much already, but Ken, absolutely. Ken, he was always told us as students to be the calm in the storm. You know, when everything's going crazy, there's injuries on the field, parents are screaming, fans are yelling, everything like that. We're supposed to be the calm in the storm that calms everyone down, calms the athlete down, and makes sure things get taken care of the way they need to help provide the best healthcare possible. So Ken was a big inspiration. He always just prepared us in every aspect of an AT. Being a young AT, I never expected to have to deal with as much administrative tasks, but through Ken's teaching in the classroom, he prepared me for something that I didn't think I would need for a while. But looking back on those lessons that he taught, he prepared me for everything that I could worry about.
Well, I can tell you that when Ken watches this, he's going to love hearing that. He touched many lives here at Muskingum through his decades, and that's the satisfaction you get as being a mentor is when you see that next step of somebody taking that professional leap, and you're certainly doing that right now. Parker, how do you like to start your day?
I start every day with a nice cup of coffee and then a nice drive into work where I get to listen to either some music, an audio book, or maybe even a podcast.
And remember, when we start our day, we're starting with Jennings Java, right?
Exactly.
That's the way to go. And JenningsJava.com. So you get here to work, and obviously as an AT, it can be a hectic at times. What energizes you when you're here?
It has to be the athletes, the student athletes. Just the smiles on their faces, just the interactions. They always keep me on my toes. You never know what's going to happen in here, from little pranks being played, just stuff like that, to being out at practice and having to be a little bit on edge in case something goes down.
What about outside of work? Once the day is done, where's the energy come from?
Yeah, outside of work, it's friends and family for sure. Friends, we like to go out golfing, anything outside, and then with family, it's kind of just that relax, unwind at the end of the day, maybe watch a movie or some Netflix or something like that.
Parker, for a young guy, you've already had a lot of accomplishments throughout your professional career and life. Is there a moment or work-related accomplishment that you're especially proud of?
I'd have to say just that middle chunk of last year where I was the only one here. We had 2 athletic trainers leave, and it was just me caring for all the sports here. And I feel like we were able, with the help of coaches and the athletes, able to make sure everyone got the health care that they needed and everyone was safe, healthy, and good to go. And I feel like that was just a big accomplishment, first year out of my master's program by myself at a university. But I feel like it went very well thanks to all those people.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, you definitely stepped it up, provided the care and the health and safety, and that's just that part. And then you got the COVID part over here, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that added a whole different dynamic to the life of an AT. What's one thing that most people don't know about you?
So one thing that a lot of people don't know is that I'm actually colorblind. So we just got our physicals for this year printed off. I asked for purple, mistake in the copy room. They gave her cardstock, and she emails me, "Hey, and what other color can I use?" And I said, "Anything's fine," not thinking about it. Ends up being on blue paper. I can barely see the black print on it, but hey, we'll make it work. We'll manage. But that's just something that I don't even think about most days, and it just catches up every once in a while.
Oh yeah. What's something that you've seen recently that's made you smile?
Something that I've seen recently that's made me smile. I'd have to say the rest of my AT staff returning to campus after their summer at Genesis. We've had a lot going on this summer. And just having them back, bringing the energy, it kind of gets a little stale over the summer with people in and out for vacations, but just having them back really brought the energy, prepped everything up that we needed to do. And I think we're really excited just to have the athletes back and give them the best care possible. We have a really great staff this year with Brian and Emily. So we're just looking forward to having the athletes back. But yeah.
Well, that's got to make you smile too, knowing you were a solo show there for a while to actually walk in and see a team sitting there waiting for you.
Exactly.
Parker, when you were a kid growing up, I mean, did you have aspirations of something differently, or were you thinking, hey, I'm going to be an AT from day one?
So when I was growing up, I broke my arm in the first grade and had to see a hands and arm specialist. So I really, from that, was like, oh, I want to be a hand and arm specialist surgeon. I thought that would be awesome. But then I kind of grew up, realized I'm a little shaky for it. Didn't want to be in there messing with those small ligaments and tendons, shaking a little. So that fell apart a little bit. But then when I found out that there was athletic training, there was no going back for me. So, young, wanting to be a surgeon, but once I hit high school and dealt with my AT in high school, that's really where it turned the corner for me, and I knew I wanted to be an AT.
And ATs are such a vital component when it comes to the athletic department. If we're sitting around with your friends, what are 3 words your friends are going to use to describe you?
I think the first one's going to be energetic. Great energy. Always try to have the fun-loving spirit. Second one would be friendly, very open, willing to help out anyone, and caring. I feel like I'm the type of person that you can come up to with any issue, talk about it, and even if you don't want me to say anything, I'm there to listen, or if you want some advice, I'm there as well.
Well, those are great ways that people describe you, Parker. What about this? We're doing a movie, and it's called The Life of Parker Lee. Who's playing Parker in your movie?
That's a good question. I'd have to go Ryan Gosling. We'll go Ryan Gosling. I feel like he'd be able to get my sense of humor down pretty well. I feel like we're kind of there for each, like, the same sense of humor. Also, it's an added benefit that we obviously look like twins. So that's just an easy one.
We might have to have a Ryan Gosling night at one of our events. What about superpowers? If there's a superpower out there, what would you like?
Superpower for me, X-ray vision. Just so I don't have to send athletes off for X-rays. I can get it done in office and not have those nights of going home and being like, I just can't wait for those X-ray results to come back. That would make my life so much easier.
I'll tell you, that's a perfect superpower for an AT. Yep. I've never heard a better answer for any superpower. What's your go-to food? If there's one food left that you're going to eat from here on out, what's your weakness? What's your Achilles?
I'd have to say pasta. There's so many options you can do with pasta that it doesn't limit you to, just a marinara sauce or an Alfredo. You can do anything you want with it, make it any flavors you want. And it's just so filling. It always gets the job done.
So are you a fan of the Olive Garden unlimited pasta bowls then?
Oh, of course I am. If you're not a fan of those, I think we need to reevaluate where we're at.
What about, COVID certainly put us into more digital age than we have been in the past. On your phone, what are 3 go-to apps that you have to have?
I have to have my weather app. Job entails that. Have to have it. Need to know when that lightning's in the area. Another one is music. Gotta have music, get you through the day. And then third and final would probably have to be Netflix or some streaming app like that, just for those long bus rides.
Well, those are good. We can just think about some pregame music for ATs. I mean, our players seem to need them, student athletes need it, but the people behind the scenes, you got to get ready for the game too.
Yep, we always got a little bit of music going on in the AT room before games, so gets all of us ready to go.
I love that. Parker, what about TV? Is there anything you binge?
Binge? I mean, I always watch The Office. That's my go-to show. It just makes me laugh, relax, always has that wind down moment for me at night. Something else I just finished up binging is The Ranch. Love that show as well. Just also kind of something that makes me laugh. I'm more of a comedy guy than anything, so that always is what I tend to lean and watch.
Oh, that's great. What about this? Let's get back around here to Muskingum a little bit. Take us through that emotional ride of having the opportunity to come back to campus. You went through our program. You've been successful outside of Muskingum, and then ultimately you got the call to come back. What was that like?
That was probably one of the best phone calls I ever received. I remember it very vividly. I was on a bus with the high school softball team I was covering at that time. Right when we showed up where we were, I got a phone call from Steve Brocklebank offering me the position. And everyone on that bus knew that I had applied. It was my alma mater. It was what I wanted. So I got back on the bus, told everyone, and just everyone erupted for me. It was super exciting. Then getting onto campus for the first time back was super cool. I remember Steve giving me a tour, is what you would call it, but I was actually showing Steve things that I remembered from my time here that were a little different. So just having that reminiscing moment of coming back and being a part of what created me and giving back to it as an athletic trainer was just very emotional and very exciting.
That's me when I say we're very happy you're back here on campus. You do such a tremendous job treating our student athletes. Can you take us through a day? Let's say it's a football game day. What's a game day like? We got our home opener coming up here, month and a half out. What's a game day look like for you?
Yeah, so game days are a little different on football because it's a Saturday usually. Let's say it's a 1:30 kickoff like most of our games are. So we'll usually get here about 3 to 3.5 hours before the game. Students will arrive around then as well. We will get the field set up, so we'll put 10 gallons on both sidelines, get the AED down there, all of the emergency medical equipment, and then we'll kind of have about 30 minutes kind of rest from that and get ready for the athletes. They come in about 2 hours before the game. Then we'll have the crazy panic of pregame taping and treatments, which feels like it takes 5 hours, but it's about an hour. And then it's time for warm-ups. We get out on the field, make sure everyone's got what they need, stretch some athletes, just be there in case anyone needs anything. During the game, walking, pacing the sidelines, cheering on the team, and keeping that watchful eye on everyone. And then, after the game, it's just clean up. It's clean up, get the guys the ice that need it, have them ice bath, get them back inside, and send them on their way, and then clean up, do some paperwork, and get on the road myself because I got to be back in the morning for check-ins.
So quite a full day, but everything in there is so important to the health and safety of our student athletes. One thing we mentioned a little earlier, going through the pandemic and how that changed the scope and really changed the daily routine and life of an athletic trainer to the part where, a lot of athletic trainers might have left to deal with that time. Talk us, how did that impact you? How did it impact just your position as an AT?
Yeah, so it affected us a lot just by having to limit the number of people in our AT room to try to limit that contact tracing and that spreading of COVID. So we had to be a little bit more strategic with our time. We couldn't have, 15 athletes in there doing rehab. We had to kind of limit that. So it made it more difficult to see the amount of people that needed to be seen, especially since I was by myself at that time. And then on kind of the administrative side, I had the fortune of being part of the COVID response team here on Muskingum, where we really were able to kind of make sure everyone was being safe, and we had guidelines and processes to make sure we were doing the best we could to limit COVID's effect on our campus. But having to enforce those fun mask mandates and stuff like that, it was a stressful time for us as athletic trainers. But it was also a time where we got to really connect with those athletes because they were separated from, their friends more often than not. And really building those personal connections was one of the few bonuses we had because of COVID.
Parker, what is your favorite part of being the Muskingum AT?
My favorite part is just interacting with the student athletes and the coaches and the rest of the staff. Here at Muskingum, we have a wonderful family of individuals that we always got each other's backs, and that goes as staff members, and that also goes to the student athletes. They're always checking in on us to make sure we're okay, making sure we don't need anything, as well as just being on time, being present, and always having energy. That's what gets me up in the day and gets me excited to come to Muskingum, is just that family that we have with everyone.
Yeah, finally, Parker, how will the BHWC aid Muskingum's AT program here?
It's going to be a big help. We're going to get a new space in there. We're going to have that new turf in there, which will allow for practice times for multiple sports to be able to move inside if needed, to kind of really have them be able to have full practices rather than, being in the gym and only being able to do a few things. And then I can't imagine how excited track is, having their own indoor track, being able to host meets, being able to practice on a track year round. That's amazing. And I feel like it's going to limit injuries and for them rather than having to do what they've done in the past, running in the halls and stuff like that. So it's going to be a big boost. We also have 2 doctors' rooms that our doctors are going to be able to come on campus and take advantage of and see patients. A diagnostic hub that's going to let us analyze the biomechanics of an athlete that's returning from a surgery and seeing where we need to focus our rehab on. It's a beautiful area that we're going to have. It's going to give us a lot of opportunities to increase and provide better health care for our athletes, and it's just super exciting.
The BHWC grand opening September 17th. It's just going to be the jewel at the heart of our campus here. It will have that tremendous impact on athletics, academics, the community, and so much more, not just here at Muskingum, but in the community. Parker, I want to first thank you for everything you do for our student athletes, our coaches. Knowing what over the last couple of years certainly has been very stressful. And thank you for navigating those waters and giving our student athletes, everybody here at Muskingum, and visiting teams, the optimal care that they've received from you.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I also want to thank you for taking time today to join us here on Coffee with an Athletic Trainer. Again, sponsored by JenningsJava.com. If you're looking for a fresh road experience, JenningsJava.com is the place to go to get an interview. Parker, thank you again for joining us, and go Muskies.